everyone, welcome back to my channel. For today's video, I am putting together a tier list of characters from Final Fantasy VII Remake with a few additions from the Intergrade DLC. Now, this is going to be a pretty controversial video, I think. My opinions may be different than yours, and that's totally okay. I just thought it'd be a fun video to put together, spark some friendly conversation in the comments, and discuss a franchise I know a lot of us are very passionate about. Now, my experience with Final Fantasy VII might be a lot different than yours. I actually came into the franchise a lot later, having played the remake first, then Crisis Core, and a few years later I finally played the OG. All the VODs for that are up on my VOD channel if you want to watch my first ever playthrough. The link will be in the description box below. I decided to limit this list of characters to just characters from the remake and the DLC because, honestly, with that alone, I already had 40 characters plus one bonus. I didn't want this video to be a million years long, and since the remake is directly linked to the launch of Rebirth, I thought this made the most sense. I've consumed a lot of Final Fantasy VII lore, including watching Advent Children and reading On the Way to a Smile and Traces of Two Paths. So when I do tier these characters, I will be considering all of the knowledge I have about the characters if they've appeared in multiple works. If you'd like to use this template to make your own Final Fantasy VII tier list, please feel free to check out the description box below where it will be linked, and post your results in our Discord. We can have some community conversation and compare lists. Alright, time to get into my Final Fantasy VII tier list. Buckle up, everybody! If the only Final Fantasy VII content you've consumed is the remake and you haven't experienced anything else, please be cautious watching this video as I could potentially reference lore from other works in the franchise that could contain spoilers for you. I don't know why I'm so nervous to put this list together. I feel like I'm gonna get in trouble. Let's get started. I don't know why Aerith is first on this list. I don't really want to start with her, to be completely honest. I'm gonna skip to Andrea. If I had to place Andrea somewhere, I feel like I would probably place them in B tier. I do love the Honeybee Inn, and I feel like the dance sequence in Final Fantasy VII Remake is very fun, and none of it would have been possible without Andrea, so B tier. Barret, one of my absolute favorites. I have to say, in regards to like the original Final Fantasy VII, Barret was one of my favorite characters. I really loved him in the original. In the remake, he was very cute and quirky as well, but something about his character in the original really stuck out to me compared to a lot of the other main team members. I have to put Barret in... This is so hard. Oh no! I think I'll put him in A tier. I'm actually so excited to see the retelling of Barret's backstory in Rebirth and to see what they do with it. I loved his backstory in the original game, and seeing it with obviously updated 2024 graphics would be really amazing. When it comes to Biggs, I actually really love the lore of Biggs involved in Traces of Two Paths. It's so hard because I don't really want to mention any spoilers in this video, but Biggs has a really interesting backstory, and if Traces of Two Paths is considered canon, which I think it is, it just makes me love him even more. I have to put Biggs in A tier as well. Chadley, this little asshole. I don't know how I feel about Chadley. I mean, he's very blunt, you know, and in regards to my For Condor experience, I loathe him. So I'm gonna put him in C tier just because of For Condor. Chocobo Sam, I think I have to put Chocobo Sam in C tier as well. He's alright, you know, but like, in regards to my personal preference and rating him against a lot of the other characters, I don't really think I can fairly put him in a higher tier. Okay, Cloud has popped up next. This is where I'm gonna get in trouble. Okay, I know so many people love Cloud, and I feel like I'm definitely a part of the minority in preferring Zack over Cloud, but I feel like we don't even know who Cloud is. In the original Final Fantasy VII, there's a whole storyline about him not even knowing who he truly is because he sort of assumes Zack's memories and, you know, Zack's legacy, and I just feel like that makes it really hard for me to enjoy his character when he's just living as someone else, not living as his true self. I think the thing with Cloud as well is, like, even Jessie has a line in the remake where she's like, there is something called being too hard to get. I understood what she was saying. And he does get better throughout the course of the game, but I just never really connected with him, I don't think. Not to mention, in the OG, he does beat Aerith to a pulp, even though it's like, you know, the mind control stuff. I just couldn't get over it. I totally understand that his character went through a lot with the trauma, all the experiments he underwent, the mind control stuff with Sephiroth. Like, I get it, but ultimately his character just didn't really resonate with me as some of the other ones did. So I'm very curious to see how my opinion of him may change in part 2 and 3. I don't want to rate him super low because I don't think he's a bad character. I'm gonna have to probably put him in B tier. I will put him ahead of Andrea, but I can't put him ahead of Barrett and Biggs. Yeah. I think he's okay. People are gonna hate me for that. I'm sorry. Please don't be mad. Don Corneo, D, Major D. I hate Don Corneo. He's so gross and creepy and just like, there's no redeeming qualities for him. I'm sorry. He's got to go in the D tier. Elmira. I do love Elmira so much. This is a hard one. I'm gonna put Elmira in... I'm gonna put Elmira in B tier, I think, ahead of Andrea, but behind Cloud. So I read Traces of Two Paths, and we really get to know a lot about Elmira through that particular work. And I really think she did so much for Aerith, and although she wasn't perfect, she was definitely a blessing in Aerith's life, and she's just such a wonderful woman and cares so much for her, even though she's not her biological daughter. So I think that's where I'll place her. I think that makes sense. Heidegger. Oh, Heidegger bothers me so much. I'm gonna also put him in D, but I'll put him ahead of Don Corneo. I just, yeah, I'm not a huge Heidegger fan. Jessie. Oh, this one's a hard one. Again, Traces of Two Paths made me really love Jessie. I gotta say, I feel like Jessie, Biggs, and Wedge got the shit under the stick in the OG 7 because when you're playing OG, it's like they're a shot in the pan. I don't feel like we really got enough time to like get to spend with them as characters, to be attached to them for when they die. You know, it just felt like it was too quick and I didn't really care as much as I cared when I played Remake. And I think Remake did an excellent job of really showing you who Jessie, Biggs, and Wedge were. You know, in regards to Jessie, we got to meet her family and see her whole backstory. I do think that that was a really interesting way to show us more about her character. And again, Traces of Two Paths also like made me love her so much with how she and Tifa became friends. Like that whole story was just so beautiful, and like I really enjoyed her a lot. It's really hard because I want to put her in S tier, but I feel like I have to put her at the front of my A tier. I think that's where I can place her pretty confidently. Okay, Leslie's up next. He's one of Don Corneo's lackeys. We did get to see some of Leslie's like backstory in Final Fantasy VII Remake, which made me feel like maybe a little bit bad for him. I feel like I'm just gonna put him in the C tier. I feel like I like Chadley more than I like him, and Chocobo Sam probably too. So I think that's a good placement. Madame M. You know, my Twitch community got a lot of laughs out of the massage sequence every playthrough that we've done so far, so I gotta put her in B tier for this. I think I will put her just behind Andrea because I like the honeybee end sequences a lot, and I think she comes close behind that. Kyrie. Ugh. I found her so obnoxious and annoying throughout the whole remake. Okay, I'm gonna put her at the front of D tier. I think she's like annoying, but not as bad as Heidegger and Don Corneo. So, Marl. Oh, I love Marl so much. It's hard because I feel like in Final Fantasy VII Remake, we don't see like a ton of her. In Traces of Two Paths, they do talk about her a lot more in her relationship with Tifa, and that made me really like her a lot. I will say, I think she would be in B tier for me, probably just behind Elmira. Yeah, her story in Traces of Two Paths was essentially, she had an injury that was very much like what Tifa had experienced in her encounter with Sephiroth. And there was this treatment that Tifa had with skin grafting, and Marl was a candidate for the same treatment. So the doctor had asked Tifa to like speak with her and convince her that it was a good method to help her. And that's how they met. You know, one thing led to another, and they were separated for quite some time. They reconnected a lot later to bring Seventh Heaven to life, and that whole story was just so beautiful. So yeah, I think I'm happy with my B tier choice for her. Marlene, oh precious baby Marlene. She's just so adorable and so smart for her age, and I think I'm gonna put Marlene in B tier as well. I'm going to put her probably just behind Marl. I think that would be where I'd place her. Mayor Domino was kind of a shot in the pan also in Final Fantasy VII Remake. I mean, he was there. He was alright. I don't really have much, like, in regards to my thoughts to say about him. He's fine. I guess I would put him probably in the C tier. I guess before Leslie. But maybe after Chocobo Sam. I think that makes sense. Nero. Ugh, the pain in the butt that fight was in the DLC. Oh my god. Okay. This is hard because I think Nero is a really cool character. I didn't play Dirge of Cerberus, so that's the one game that I'm really missing the lore for. I really like his character design. And I don't know, but I don't have a lot to go off of for him, I guess. So I will have to put Nero in, like, I don't know. I guess I'll say C tier. I'll put him in front of Leslie, though, because there were some things about Leslie that were bothersome, and I don't know. Nero seems like he could be cool. The design alone bumps him, I think, ahead of Leslie. We'll go with the C tier. Ugh, okay, Palmer is up next. I don't really particularly enjoy Palmer, to be honest. He's really annoying. I'm gonna put him just behind Kyrie, I think, in D tier. Ugh, President Shinra. This is a hard one. Okay, the only reason why this is a hard one, honestly, is because I just finished reading On the Way to a Smile. And there's a whole chapter about Shinra and Rufus Shinra and his father's relationship. And I thought that even though President Shinra was kind of an asshole, he really did love his son. And, spoiler alert, essentially, the reason why Rufus survives the attack on Shinra Tower when Meteor is threatening the Earth was because his father actually made him a panic room. And the whole thing with the panic room was, like, the button under the desk that makes you slide down into the panic room had an L on it for loser. And then when you go down into the panic room, there's a bunch of crates that had L's all over them for loser, because his father was like, we don't need a panic room. No one's gonna make it up to the top floor. This is silly, but I'll do it for you for when you take over. And the code to get out of the panic room was actually Rufus Shinra's birthday. So it was just, you know, a father's love. Even though he was a jerk, he still cared enough to make his son's dreams come true and to protect him in the end. So it's hard because I'm like, oh, that was kind of redeeming. But it's also his fault that the plate fell on Sector 7. So I guess I'll probably put him in the D tier as well because he sucks. But I'll put him... this is so hard. I guess I'm gonna put him in front of Kyrie because she's annoying. And I feel like he redeemed himself a little bit with that whole panic room thing for me. And yeah, that's gonna be probably controversial too, but whatever. Oh, Professor Hojo is creepy, man. Okay, I'm gonna have to... This is gonna be hard. Yeah, just every encounter I had with Hojo throughout all of the works I've experienced, I just find him so creepy and gross and just yucky. Even in Crisis Core, when he interacts with Zack, it's just like, he oozes creep. So, I'll put him... I don't know. I'm gonna put him probably... This is so hard! Okay, I'm having a hard time with this. This is a lot harder than I thought it was gonna be. I think I have to put him behind Corneo. Which I feel like is... Am I gonna put him behind Corneo? I mean, he was pretty bad. But Don Corneo is also very bad. I think I have to put Hojo behind Corneo. Even though Corneo is like scum of the earth, Hojo ran crazy experiments on a Falna and did such terrible things. I think he has to be at the end of the tier list there for D. Yeah, I think that makes sense. Nanaki or Red 13. This is a tough one. Okay, across all of the works, Red was like okay. I don't think he was like a particularly great character. I don't think he was a particularly bad character. I think I would probably place Red 13 in... I'm gonna say B tier. I'm gonna put him behind Marlene in regards to my preference. I think that that's a place that I feel comfortable putting him. You know, I just read On the Way to a Smile, like I mentioned, and I couldn't connect with him, I guess. Reeve. Okay, this one's a hard one. Partially because of On the Way to a Smile as well. And Reeve's lore in that. Reeve didn't want the plate to drop on Sector 7. He tried to make President Shinra stop it. I think I have to put Reeve in high C tier. I think I'm gonna put him ahead of Chadley because Chadley's more annoying. Reno. Okay, this one's kind of hard. Across all of the works, I think I probably have to put Reno. I think I would put Reno in C tier as well. Probably behind Reeve, but in front of Chadley and everyone else, I think. It's weird, because with the Turks, like, I have a soft spot for a lot of them. Sung especially. In regards to how interesting Reno's character is, but also because he's done bad things, I think C is a good spot for him, I think. Roche, oh god. I hated every encounter we had with him in Final Fantasy VII Remake. He was really annoying. I'm gonna put him at the end of the C tier, I think. I mean, I don't think he's as bad as the people in the D tier, honestly, so I think the end of C is probably fine, but oh god, he was so annoying. Okay, next up we have Rude. I think I'm gonna put Rude in front of Reno. Mostly because of his crush on Tifa. I think it's really funny. Rufus Shinra. Oh god, this is gonna be a hard one. Okay, I actually like Rufus. I hated the fight against Rufus in Final Fantasy VII Remake. Oh my god, that fight was so frustrating. But I think, again, On the Way to a Smile and the whole Shinra chapter really made me have an appreciation for him. I think I would put him just behind Reeve. I think that that spot makes sense for me personally. Scarlet. Oh god, okay. I don't like Scarlet at all. I find her extremely annoying. This is a tough one. I think I'm probably gonna put Scarlet in D tier, but I have to put her ahead of President Shinra. I think everyone else is much worse in that tier. I don't think I could really place her anywhere else. I think she has to be at the beginning of D. I did find her frustrating and annoying though, and arrogant. I just really didn't like her, so D tier. Okay, Koch and Scotch. They were also Don Corneo's lackeys. I mean, I don't feel like they were as bad as the people in the D tier per se, but they kind of sucked. This is hard. I think I'm gonna put them in the C tier behind Leslie, but probably ahead of Roche. I don't really know, like, who I would put first. They were kind of just there equally to me. They helped Corneo do bad things, but I feel like they could be redeemed. So, yeah, I think I'll put them behind Leslie there. I'll just group them together. I think that makes sense. Okay, Vice. Kind of the same thing as Nero. I don't really know a lot about him because I didn't play Dirge of Cerberus, but he does have a really cool character design. I think I'm gonna have to put him in C tier, probably just behind Nero, because we had a lot less time with him, I think. But again, character design and potential cool factor, I'll put them in C tier. Sonon! My baby Sonon. Oh boy, I'm gonna put him in A tier. I really liked Sonon's character so very much, and for all that he did for Yuffie, and how he treated her with respect and, like, called her boss. It was just so sweet. And I'm really sad to see what happened to him. And I'm really curious if we'll see him again in any of the other installments in the remake. So, yeah, I'm going to put him at the end of A tier. I really liked him a lot. Johnny. Oh, God. I found Johnny really annoying. I think I would probably have to put Johnny... I think I'll put him behind Reno. I think everybody else in this tier, I either thought were just a shot in the pan, or I didn't know enough about, or were, like, not that great. And I think I liked him better than I liked Chadley. You know, Johnny was kind of annoying and a mess. But his crush on Tifa was kind of cute, and, you know, he did work with us a few times. So I think that's where I would put him. Sephiroth. Oh, God. Okay, this is a hard one for me. So, okay. I know a lot of people really like Sephiroth. Even when Sephiroth was a hero, I didn't think he was all that cool. And then when he went crazy after he found out like his true origin story and stuff, I didn't know if that was like motivation enough to do all the terrible things that he did. Having said that though, without Sephiroth, you know, the story would be quite boring, and it does add a lot to the franchise. So, okay, I think I'm gonna put him in B tier, but I'm gonna put him behind Marlene and ahead of Nanaki. I just love Elmira and Marl and Marlene so much. And like, if this is a personal preference list, I feel like I can't put him before them. Although him and Cloud would be nice together in the tree because they deserve to be with one another. But I think that's where I'd have to place him. I do feel bad for him to some extent for what he's experienced, but he's also caused so much death and destruction. I think B is a good spot, I think. Oh, Jenova. Okay, I feel like... Jenova. This is gonna be a really hard one. The calamity from the sky caused so much destruction. Sephiroth's mom. But she's so cool at the same time. Like, I just feel like all, like, her character design and, like, every time I see her, she looks so awesome. The whole franchise kind of, like, hinges on her. Because I feel like, I mean, without her, there would be no Sephiroth, right? I think I have to put her with Sephiroth. I feel like they go hand in hand, you know? I'm gonna put her in B tier. I feel like due to the relevance to the story and the character design, I have to put her in B tier. Oh, Tsung. Okay, Tsung is one of my favorite Turks. I think that I have to put him in B tier, probably just ahead of Sephiroth, I think. I just feel like being a Crisis Core fan, Tsung, you know, watched over Aerith for all of those years. Even though he was hired by Shinra, I think he really did care for her well-being. And, you know, even at the end, he you know, showed that he cared for Zack and making sure that he was okay in Crisis Core. And, you know, Tsung almost dies in the Temple of the Ancients as well. Like, he went through some shit, okay? But yeah, I think based off his relationship with Aerith and Zack, he is one of my faves, so I'm gonna put him in the B tier. Wedge. Oh, I love Wedge very much as well. Crap, this is gonna be hard. Traces of Two Pasts had a really cute story where he meets Tifa for the first time, and I really liked that part of the story, so... Ooh, okay, I'm gonna put him... I think I'm gonna put him just... No, I don't know. I think I have to put him in front of Sonon. I feel like yeah, okay, I think this is a good place. The reason why I think that he should be here is because, you know, he really tried his best. He really wanted to make a difference. He was such a sweetheart, and, you know, in the end, it didn't really work out for him. I mean, we don't know. We don't know what's gonna happen in Rebirth. Maybe he'll get a second chance, but I just feel like he had a really good heart. I think that's a good spot for him. Okay, now we're getting into the big leagues. Zack Fair, S tier, 100% S tier. Listen, I am definitely a Zack fan. Love me or hate me for it, whatever you so decide. But Crisis Core had such a strong impact on me. Like I said, when I played it for the first time, it became one of my top favorite games of all time. I just love his character so much. I love his story so much. I love the fact that he, like, never complained about having to help other people, and it's just he wanted to be a hero and do good by the world. And you know, I think he really cared for Aerith deeply and wanted to get back to her, but he had this sense of duty he felt like he had to fulfill, and so he, you know, he tried his best, and it didn't work out for him. And I'm so excited to see what happens to him in Rebirth if we get a chance to change the course of fate. It's definitely one of my most anticipated storylines of Rebirth to experience, so I can't wait for that. But yeah, I have to put him at the top. I'm sorry if you hate me for that. Tifa! I also have to put Tifa in S tier. Now, this is a new realization for me. When I first played FF7 Remake, I didn't really care very much for Tifa. She was kind of just there, and I was like, like, she's alright, she's cute, but, like, I wasn't really attached to her. But then I read Traces of Two Pasts, and holy crap. If you guys want to know more about Tifa, that's the best way, I feel like, to do so. There's just so much lore, and you get to see so much more of her childhood. you know, what happens after the tragedy in Nibelheim, how she got to Sector 7. Like, it's just, it shows her strength and her resilience as a character, and I loved her so much after reading it. And then when I, you know, watched Advent Children, I loved her even more. And so then I read On the Way to a Smile, and I loved her even more. The more I learn about her, the more I love, so I have to put her in S tier. I feel like at this time in my life as well, I can relate to her in a lot of ways, and it was really interesting to me that when I had first met her, I didn't really care much for her, but what you're going through in your life maybe can really alter the way you look at a character. So seeing her again so many years later and learning so much more about her, yeah, I have to put her in S tier. Yuffie. Okay, I don't like Yuffie very much. I've never liked Yuffie. I have a chip on my shoulder because in my FF7 OG playthrough, she steals all my materia at one part in the playthrough, and then I died shortly after, and I hadn't saved for a really long time, and it just pissed me off so much. I just find her really, like, bratty and kind of annoying, especially in Crisis Core. I know she's really young in that game, but, like, even in the Intergrade DLC, I feel like she's maybe slightly unappreciative of all that Sonon tried to do for her. You know, just saying, I'm not your sister, and, like, wanting to be strong enough to take care of herself. I understand she wanted to prove herself, but it still kind of bothered me that she just couldn't appreciate the help a little bit more. Not that I don't think she appreciated it at all, but I feel like she could have showed it a little bit more. And it was kind of, I just feel like her character's kind of always me. So, I'm gonna have to say, I don't think that she belongs in the C or D tier, to be honest. Like, I don't think that she's that bad of a character. It's just my personal preference and, like, what I feel about her. I'll put her just behind Nanaki or Red 13. I think that that's maybe the best place to go. Aerith. This is gonna be so hard to place. Okay, I need to talk about this first before I even think about where I'm gonna put her. So, when I first played Final Fantasy VII Remake, I loved Aerith. She was my favorite. She was so quirky, so cute. I was like, this is it. She's the coolest. What the heck? And then I played Crisis Core, and I was so sad for, you know, her relationship with Zack and how he wasn't around and how she wrote him so many letters and she didn't know where he was. And it wasn't his fault for not responding because he was obviously being experimented on for a good chunk of the time she was writing to him. And it was like, I can only imagine what she went through during that time and how hard that was for her. And then, you know, feeling towards the end of the game that he'd return to the planet. Like, that's terrible. And I loved her character so much, and I was so sad. But then I played the OG Final Fantasy VII. There were so many scenes in the OG that made Aerith seem like such a bitch towards Zack. And I understand that this game came out first. And, you know, people didn't know Zack's story. Zack's story wasn't even written yet. But Zack is in the original Final Fantasy VII, if you see the scenes, if you choose to do what you need to do to see them. And, you know, she kind of wrote this narrative of him as, like, a womanizer, and he left her for somebody else, and that's why he didn't come back. But then, when you meet Zack's parents in Gongaga, you know, Aerith acts really weird, and it's like she knows that he's dead, but she's created this narrative about him to make herself feel better and maybe process the grief a little more so. But anyway, I really didn't like the way that she spoke about him in the original 7, and it did turn me off of her character, like, quite a bit. This tier list is supposed to be based off of my opinions of the characters across all of the works and all the things I've experienced. So, I feel like we are in the time of the retelling of the story. The OG happened a long time ago. I think that they have portrayed Aerith in a way that's really different in the remake compared to what she was like in the OG. And I like her a lot in the remake. I always liked her in the remake. I thought she was a fantastic character. So I think that that outweighs my experience with her in the OG. I'm gonna put her in S tier, but I think based off of my updated experiences with all the characters and all of the lore that I've consumed, I think I have to put her behind Tifa, which I don't think, like, you know, ask me 3 years ago and I probably wouldn't have said the same thing, but I think that that's where I would have to place her. And now for my bonus, the Moogle. This is my least favorite Moogle design across all the Final Fantasy games I think I've played. This Moogle, Something about it is so creepy and so unsettling. And I just couldn't do a tier list without including the design in this list. So, where will I place you? I think I have to place the Moogle at the end of the C tier. I can't, in good conscience, put it, like, behind a Hojo. Like, I can't. So, I will put low C tier for the Moogle design. But just know that any other Moogle design in the Final Fantasy franchise is better than this one. Thank you so much for watching today's video. If you enjoyed it, please do hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. I do have a lot of Final Fantasy VII content coming up, so hopefully you'll want to stick around for that. I will be playing Rebirth live on my Twitch channel. I stream Monday through Friday at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. And I just finished my Tifa cosplay and I've been posting a lot of content about that across all my social platforms. All the links are in the description box below. I hope to see you all in my next video and hopefully my next stream. Bye!